What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this, if you ain't taking notice, is our 40th, well, not our, it is the Transformers 40th anniversary episode live stream thing. We weren't supposed to go live. We weren't supposed to go live, but we're going live. You know why we're going live here, September 22nd, 2024? Because we've got to. And honestly, couldn't do it without, I'm not even going to call him a cohort, nor co-host, the partner in crime right now, Shinrob Jira, a.k.a. my brother Rob, my favorite person from Jersey. Rob, what's going on?
Love that little callback to Friday. What's going on, man? I'm ready to talk about Transformers. That's what's going on.
Bro, there has been so much happening right now in the realm of Transformers. And it's not as crazy as we might think, but it is crazy. And the reason for that is Transformers 1 drops the week of Transformers 40th anniversary. Now, we've had since 1984, right? In 1984, yes. I should say. In 1984, we've had so many things that pertains to us and my childhood, you know, because I'm a lot older, but your not upbringing, geekdom, if you will, right? Where it's like, what are we doing? For me, for instance, I've had Transformers, obviously, right? Ghostbusters came out that year. Saw it in theaters. Great. I love that fucking movie. The Return of Godzilla, by the way, in 1984. Okay? Here in the States, we got it a year later, Godzilla 1985. But Godzilla came back in 1984. And it is my favorite Godzilla movie of all time. That's just me. Right? But so much. Voltron came out in 1984. Okay? Another fucking cartoon series that I loved. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in 1984. Not the cartoon, the comic book. Where they were vicious and they were brutal murderers. I can't say brutal, but they really were brutal murderers, right? Like, if you think about it. The Foot Clan weren't robots. They were ninjas. And these Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were straight up killing them. And it wasn't played for laughs like they were in 87. But at the same time, it was just perfect. But I wasn't there at that point in time yet. But Transformers came out and it hit. It hit so hard. The idea of these robots that turn into cars or planes or radios, boom boxes, guns, was unbelievable. And they absolutely hit at that generation, at that point in time. Absolutely hit. And we are here to celebrate that. We are definitely here. Me and Rob here to celebrate Transformers and everything that's come after. Because let's be for real here. We wouldn't be talking about this if there wasn't this franchise that you can bank on. Unfortunately, there's a movie right now in theaters that's not banking. But we'll get to that in a minute because I'll see you later. T1. G1 will see you later, T1. But I digress. Oh, God, that's one. Oh, God,
that's one.
That's one. But, Rob, let me ask you, man. Before I get into all my spiel, and I did. You got to know Transformers later in life. Like, after it's been around, after the movie came out. I mean, you're a product of the 90s. Am I lying?
You are not lying. I am very much a product of the 90s.
So Transformers has been around for a long time by the time you come around. Yet, the fact that you're here with me talking about the 40th anniversary of Transformers must mean that Transformers meant something to you when you saw it. What was it?
Well, if I want to get into how I feel about it now, it's like I said on Friday, hope. But when I was a kid, you know, my first Transformers didn't have Peter Cullen, didn't have Frank Welker. I had Gary Chalk and David Kay. I had Beast Wars and everything. And at that point in time, it was really just, oh, there's dinosaurs in this. Let me watch. And as that run kept going, and I watched it religiously, because it very quickly devolved from, oh, there's dinosaurs in this, to holy fucking shit. This is one of the greatest crafted stories that I've seen in my entire life. And that doesn't mean nothing, because I was like maybe 5, 6 at that point in time. But man, there is a certain essence. There's a certain essence to experiencing something for the very first time. I'd like to describe Beast Wars as like the first time I tried ice cream ever, because it just had that moment in it where it's like, I'm probably going to like this for the rest of my life. And the biggest surprise then, and even today, was just how frequently I got that and how frequently I felt that as the series went on. And this, next to Godzilla at that point in time, was one of those instances where, oh, so this is Transformers, and, you know, my dad has Transformers at his house. Like, clearly there's more to discover there. And Beast Wars was essentially the foundation for me to go back, go forward, stick with Transformers until a certain part of my life where I finally just said, okay, no more Transformers for a bit. So in that sense, you know, Beast Wars was at Toys R Us. Transformers was at Toys R Us. I found out that Optimus Primal's is like who he was succeeding essentially was Optimus Prime. Megatron is Megatron, this and that. And Beast Wars was my first taste of ice cream in terms of Transformers. Because from there, that's when I discovered that there was this big movie that fucking killed Optimus Prime and many of the beloved Autobots. That was my jumping off point to where, you know, G1 as a whole became a very recognizable thing to me. So with Beast Wars being my first like foray, it was also just the lead weight that was just sinking me at that point in time as well.
Yeah, it's crazy when I think about Beast Wars and stuff, and how, you know, doing the podcast with everybody, how so much younger you all are, that you weren't able to experience Transformers at inception, yet you've got to see Transformers at some of its greatest heights. You know, granted, people, you know, and I get it. Beast Wars, the animation wasn't tight, and I get it. I totally understand, but it's the story, and that's one of the things about Transformers that has always captured me. The idea, the lore, and it comes from '86 in the movie. But real quick, we've got chats already. Default, Default NPC says hello. I only know Transformers since this year, and I loved it ever since. Well, Default NPC, which is a very, very, very weird name. I'm not going to be mad at you. But that is a shockwave in his pick. So, yeah, in their pick, I should say, in their pick. So, yeah, look, if you loved it, man, hang out. We're gonna spew our love for it. We're going to spew some hate, too. Yeah, definitely. All right, Default NPC is still here. We're going to spew our love. We're going to spew our hate. We're going to talk Transformers. I was luckily around to witness Transformers at inception. I remember being excited to see Transformers when it was coming on. I remember seeing all the commercials for it. And I was just like, yeah, giant robots transforming into cars and stuff. Let's do it. And the first episode comes out, and I'll be honest with you, this was 40 years ago, so I can't remember exactly if they did like an hour block. I don't think that was the case back in those days. I don't think they did it like that just yet. So it was probably like, here's episode 1 of the Transformers, and then it was a to be continued type episode. But you got to know the characters, and honestly, you got to know who you needed to know, right? You got to know who Optimus Prime was. And that, to me, was all you needed. Because Optimus Prime is Transformers. They tried again, they never, ever, ever surpassed what Optimus Prime was. Optimus Prime is a generational figurehead. Honest to God. You have Luke Skywalker, you have Optimus Prime, you got Batman. Batman, happy Batman Day, by the way. But Optimus Prime is just that person. By the way, Default NPC says, love that Wheeljack was the first one we ever saw, and then he died off screen. Well, listen, Default NPC. Subscribe to the G Show channel and check out our last live stream, which was this past Friday, and hear how I rant about that. Because Wheeljack's one of my favorite Transformers too, to be honest with you. He was the first one we saw, and then he died unceremoniously. It's terrible. I digress too, but that one don't count. Does it count? It don't.
Nah, we're not counting.
We can't count that one. We count Fridays. But this franchise, I mean, like, it was meant to sell toys, right?
Yeah.
But it did so much more. Literally, it did so much more. It created a boom that, honestly, I don't think, other than the Ninja Turtles, in terms of 80s animated shows captured, it was this and Ninja Turtles, and that was it. Ninja Turtles got the live action movie early, but it boomed hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and again, the comic book came out the same year that Transformers came out on television. So there was things to feed off of. What could we do when it comes to Ninja Turtles? But Transformers really, really, really set the trend going forward on this is how we do it, because it was the first animated movie from a TV show that I can recall. There was nothing before that was a television show first that became a fucking full-fledged not live action, but full-fledged, movie on you had to go to the theaters to see. You had to pay to see it. It wasn't on television. And that's crazy. That's fucking crazy when you think about it like that.
That's a good point. I can't recall anything, to be completely honest with you, that did that the way that did that, which is fucking nuts.
Brother,
I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah. I will give you the two after this came out that was animated. Transformers came out 84. The movie came out in 86, right? First time I've ever seen it, right? I don't think it's ever been done before. Then you had DuckTales, the movie. Okay? DuckTales was a solid hit. And then they made a movie, right? And then the third one, Happy Batman Day, Batman the Animated Series came out with Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Those three, I'm lying, bring it back, I'm lying. The GoBots.
Yes.
The GoBots did it before DuckTales, but the GoBots only did it because the success, or quote-unquote success, I don't think it was that successful, but the fact that they saw Transformers do it. But the GoBots movie had no stakes, unlike the Transformers movie. Everybody was coming back the next season, if there was even a next season with the Rock Lords, right? whatever, Legends of the Rock Lords. So it was that, Legends of the Rock Lords, GoBots, DuckTales, and then Batman the Animated Series. Those were the three from the 80s to the 90s where you were like, oh shit, they made a movie from this animated series in continuity. In continuity. I mean, now, you know, you probably get them a dime a dozen, but Transformers did it first. They did it first. And if it wasn't for Transformers the movie, I don't think we would be having this conversation right now.
I don't think so either.
Right? Because, granted, the franchise is one thing. They want to sell toys, so you do. But in order to sell the toys, you gotta give us a reason to buy the toys. The reason for me was Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, Chris Latta. You know? The voice actors, the people who gave Scatman Crothers, who voiced my all-time favorite Autobot of all, my favorite Transformer of all time, Jazz, who gives reason to really fall in love with these characters, you know? And it was just, it's such a thing. We're getting hits. We're 16 minutes in. We got more hits today in the chat than we've had in, you know, the past 10 live streams on Fridays. So Default NPC says, my dad had a GoBot, and when I asked him what was his favorite Transformer, he said Turbo. And I looked him up, and he's a GoBot. Boy, how awkward. That's funny. That's funny. Turbo, the red GoBot, the Gobatron. Jay Rollerson, I apologize if I butchered that name. I'm sorry. I will never forget seeing Mask of the Phantasm. The theatrical release was a few years before then, but it changed the way I saw Batman the Animated Series forever, and I was already 3 seasons in. Yes! Happy Batman Day, JR. Oh my God. Could you imagine if that really was
JR's real
name?
That's another JR. Holy shit.
Good God Almighty. Could you imagine? But yes, I agree with that. Happy Batman Day, JR. Mask of the Phantasm. Ooh, it's a banger. I wish I would have saw that in the theaters. I really do. I kick myself in the dick all the time. Default NPC says that is a goated show. Indeed. If we're talking Batman animated series, it is. That whole DC animated universe, what they did there, that is goated. That is absolute goatness. But we are talking Transformers, which is also goatness. But here's the deal, and this is the crazy thing. Have you ever gone back and watched episodes of Transformers? Because, I mean, in my head, all I see is the movie. Granted, I've seen every single episode before I saw the movie, and then I saw episodes that happened after the movie before I saw the movie, because my mom didn't take us to see the movie. My mom didn't want to take us. My father didn't want to take us. He was taking us to see Freddy Krueger and shit, right? But no, animated stuff, they weren't going to sit down and watch that. Whereas we would love it.
Damn.
Yeah. But they weren't going to like it. Whereas I'll take my kid, even though now she's, you know, a grown-up. But I would have taken my kid to see animated movies. I've done it. Like, let's go. So they didn't. So that was like one of those things that always irked me when I was a kid. Where's Optimus Prime? I saw the commercials. I saw the question, does Optimus Prime die? I remember that. And then when I finally got my hands on Transformers the movie, the VHS from Video Home Family, if I'm not mistaken, VHM. Oh man, oh God, I remember that shit to the day, because I never wanted to let it go. Mom, Dad, can we just keep this tape? No, we got to return it. Can we rent it again? That's how it was. That's how it was. When I saw Transformers the movie, it made the entire series that much better. Because it was the first time we saw stakes in something we loved. We've never seen people die in America, in American cartoons at that point in time, ever. Yet here we were. Like Default NPC said earlier, Wheeljack, the very first Transformer you see in Transformer history, animated, just dead, just laying there, dead. What? It's crazy. Default NPC also says, I was watching the beginning of the 86 movie at school when I was getting into Transformers. Then someone walked by and recognized Unicron. And then he said, yo, that's the one where Optimus dies. I looked at him and just said, yeah. That's awesome. Jay Rawlinson, JR says, I cannot ever get Instruments of Destruction out of my head. My God! Oh my God! I was singing that in a theater on the limited re-release they did 3 or so years ago. My God, Instruments of Destruction is one of the greatest. First off, that soundtrack is one of the greatest soundtracks of all time, JR. You know it, I know it, but Instruments of Destruction, because that's where they kill all your favorite Autobots. Ratchet dies, Prowl dies, Brawn dies, Ironhide dies. What are we doing? Such heroic nonsense. Boom! Oh my God! It's insane. That's what it is. Yeah. It's insanity. Who the fuck gave Hasbro the license to kill? Who? It drives me nuts. I'm about to be 45. There it is. I threw it out there. There it is. I'm about to be 45. Y'all don't understand. That shit crushed my heart when I saw that as a child. 6 years old. Ow, why do we do it? Oh my God. Default NPC says that's his favorite scene. That's their favorite scene. And JR says it is, but man, what a scene. Absolutely what a scene. Die Autobots, and then that fucking music hits. When Megatron's hand, the way he's just ready to go. Die Autobots transforms into Starscream's hands, and Starscream just lets off boom, boom. And it's the first time you see that, like, that real power from Megatron. Or you've seen it. You actually do see it in early episodes. Season 1, they really do they do show Megatron's power, especially as hand cannon Megatron. But you never see Transformers die. You never see Autobots die.
Get hurt.
Right. It is crazy.
Dude, seeing that scene for the first time, I'm pretty sure I was a teenager by the time I finally saw Transformers the movie. And going into it, I was fresh off, I guess it was Shout Factory. They released the box set of G1, all the episodes, whatever have you. And it's like, okay, I got to watch the movie. I'm not buying the fucking special edition DVD because it's $148 on eBay. I'm just going to watch this illegally. Bro, I ordered a pizza for this. It was a Papa John's. I don't even fucking remember. I got my extra garlic sauce. I got my Pepsi with me. And I could play, and I don't want to fucking eat a goddamn thing. My eyes are glued to the screen. But as I'm watching this, my heart is breaking into a million fucking pieces because the homies is gone. Megatron is taking these people out, Starscream, the whole 9 yards. And it's like, slow your fucking roll. It's the first 5 minutes of the movie. How are you starting this movie? And dude, I had seen Beast Wars at that point. I had seen Armada at this point. I'd seen Starscream get literally disintegrated piece by fucking Unicron after he challenges him. But this hit. And it hurt him. It hurt. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. Dude.
Yeah.
As much as it sucks, I really don't think there is a more, like, iconic way to start a movie. Like, dude, the dead. DED.
they're done. Yeah, they're dead. They're dead. And it is absolute for kids at that time. It's, what are we doing here? Because again, we're not used to that in America. We're not used to that at that point in time. We're not used to that. So when you have a cartoon that everybody's watching and you make a movie, we're all loving, and the kids don't get it, and the adults don't get that they're only doing this to promote new toys. The adults gotta pay for therapy. Don't you understand? Hasbro, don't you understand that? Not for nothing. We should sue them. We should go back and retroactively sue Hasbro for doing what they did to us, right? Like I'm suing on behalf of my parents, right? Because they had to put me in therapy because I saw Wheeljack just dead. Wheeljack dead. X's in his eyes. He was gone, Jim. He was dead. He's dead, Jim. I saw Optimus Prime die after such a great, heroic... Oh, God, the scene when Megatron must be stopped no matter the cause. The transformation, the rollout, the fucking hitting everybody. Dirge, thrust, whatever, fucking the ramjet. It doesn't matter. Busting up, pulling the gun out from back, and just hitting everybody. Boom, 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 boom. And then one shall stand, one shall fall. Oh, my God. It's Default NPC says it's too bad for you all Autobot enjoyers. I cried when Starscream died. Damn. JR says when you have a cartoon with real stakes, capitalized stakes, it just blindsides everybody. Absolutely, that's it right there. That's it right there.
It's true. It's true.
Default NPC says he had one of his best fight scenes ever before he died. At least that's true, but no, Prime had some really good. I mean, later on in history, you break it down. Even the comic books, man, there's some really good shit in the comic books. But there's just so much with this franchise that they did, and it's again, I don't want this to be a Transformers the movie, love fest, even though.
Yeah.
Anytime.
It's hard not.
It's hard not to be.
Not to be.
That 86 movie is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen, personally, period. It really is. And
we watched it together, beginning of the year?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, we did. And I don't know if, I think I had to, lower my thing because I was, reciting every single word. Because I know that movie like I know Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I know that movie. But yeah, and this is where it gets me mad because I'm sitting here and I look at the box office for Transformers 1, which, even though they're not promoting it as the 40th anniversary movie, it's the 40th anniversary of the Transformers. And I like the idea of, yes, it's 40 years of Transformers. We're going to give you the origin story. I've seen the origin story. It's in Generation 1. It's in the original series. I've seen Orion Pax. The comic books did a really good job of showing who Megatron was before he was Megatron. They did a really good job doing that. And I'm just I look at this movie and it cost $75 million to make. It made $26 million this weekend, opening weekend, and I know for a fact Paramount thought it was going to do more than that. At least by 10, it didn't. Had Beetlejuice beat it, in Beetlejuice's third week, had Beetlejuice beat it, and everybody's asking the question why. I'll tell you why. With no remorse, I'll tell you why. Because it's not G1. For crying out loud, Paramount and Hasbro, they've got to understand. And I understand, personally, I understand what they're trying to do, get Transformers for the new generation. But the first generation, we're not done with it yet. We're not done with it yet.
Truth.
Give us what we want. Give us what we want. Yo, just one more time before they're gone. Before Optimus Prime and Megatron are legitimate echoes in time. Give us Peter Cullen and Frank Welker one more time. You don't have to do it live action, because that, is on its own thing. But what made Transformers popular, and yes, Beast Wars definitely put it on the map too, but what made Transformers popular was hearing those two fantastic voice actors be the legitimate hero and the legitimate villain. And I mean, I can say the same thing for Batman again. Happy Batman Day! With Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and the Joker. But we can never have that again because Kevin Conroy, unfortunately, is gone. But that's all I'm saying. All you need to do is, you don't even need a season. You give us a 1 hour, give me a 90-minute special. Transformers Generation 1. And you have Optimus Prime and Megatron. Animated. The way we used to see them, the way this thumbnail looks, animated in this form, and go to town and just give us a finale. And granted, I say give us a finale. We had a finale because, the movie was in a way a finale, and, season 3 was in a way a finale, but Japan kept it going. They kept it going. We got Convoy in different... And Convoy, by the way, is Optimus Prime. We got him in 30 different thousand fucking flavors. Just give us an official send-off where we can be like, we're satisfied. Because Transformers 1986, the movie, crushed us. It did not satisfy us. Don't you understand, Hasbro? Don't you understand, Paramount? It didn't satisfy us. It crushed us. And all we want, as adults now, all we want is for that one little slice of the pie to taste once again. That's all we want. And finish it. Then we can take our children. Because yes, we have children now. We are adults. We are parents. We can take our children and take them to the movies and show them their version of Transformers, because we have, at this point in time, gotten what we wanted from Transformers. I'm about to cry. I'm not gonna cry because that's not. I'm about to cry. But real quick, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna go to the chats because the chats are, again. Oh my God, the chats are blowing up. Rob, the chats are blowing up. JR says, anyone here played War for Cybertron and or Fall for Cybertron? Yes, absolutely. Yep. And
still goated to this day.
Still goated to this day.
They've not aged a day.
Hopefully we'll get some news from that soon. Who knows? And Default NPC says, Cullen needs to rest, not gonna lie. Okay, I agree with that to a point. The live action shit. But one more go-round animated. Optimus Prime, as you see here in the thumbnail, that Optimus is Peter Cullen, and we just you don't kill him. Just give me a fucking Prime that is finally at peace because he did it. We've never seen Optimus Prime win. Ever.
You've seen him die a lot.
He died a lot. Yeah, we definitely see him die a lot. But we never seen him win. Could you imagine Peter Cullen finally at peace with Optimus Prime because Prime did it? He jammed the tide, or he won.
It's the perfect send-off.
Honestly,
that would be the perfect send-off. And I have to agree. Like, don't get me wrong. It's great hearing Peter Cullen's voice still coming out of Optimus Prime all the way up until now, Rise of the Beasts and everything. But it would be great to give him and Frank Welker and whatever remaining cast would even come back to, voice their respective roles, it would be great as like a major footnote. I mean, 40 years, man. It would be great for them and their characters and their story to kind of see their big finale, because, Frank Welker is the man of 100 million voices. The man is everywhere, whether you know he's there or not. He's
Absolutely.
like the shadows on a summer day.
Yep.
And Peter Cullen is decorated like a fucking Christmas tree. Predator, Kong, Eeyore, Optimus Prime. I mean, the list is massive. To give those guys, their movie, their story, their finale, I think I would be okay if that movie were to ever happen and they say, we're done. We love it. It's part of our history. It's part of our lives forever. But we're done. I would be okay with that.
That's exactly it. That's all I'm asking for. And I'm pretty sure, on behalf of all the Generation 1 fans out there who is as old as me, that's all we want. All right? Because when we were kids, that's not what you do. You ruined us. That's why, you know what? That's why people get mad at us today. And I will point back and say, you want to be mad at me for being the way I am? It's Transformers the movie, 1986. It fucked me up. So I'm not going to fuck your shit up. That's how life works, people. Give us the send-off. Give us the send-off. I'm going to get into these chats real quick because, oh my God, they are fucking flowing and I can't, do it justice. Where was I? Okay, all right. JR said, "Why throw away for slate? Why throw away your life? Why throw away your life so recklessly? We know that. That's the question you ask yourself, Megatron. Boom. Before I could appreciate how special it was. Oh yeah, I read all that. Okay. Here we go. All right, here we go. JR wrote, Cullen is the GOAT, and I agree. Let the man rest. Default NPC says, maybe the Transformers 1 trilogy may lead to yet another Bumblebee movie opening scene. Yeah, but at that time, I just think it's too late. And God, we only have a limited time with Frank Welker and Peter Cullen. JR writes, not Optimus, no, but Rodimus was able to declare an end to the Cybertronian Wars. That's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And honestly, I'm a Hot Rod Rodimus Prime fan. I really am. I can't lie. I am. JR also writes, he's right up there with Mel Blanc. Which one? Peter Cullen or Frank Welker? Because I agree with that. Mel Blanc, man of 1,000 voices, indeed. A fucking Bugs Bunny. All of the original OG cartoons when they started making animated stuff. Absolutely. Default NPC says, since animation has evolved so much over the years, we can get an 86 movie stylized G1 finale. Yes, that's what we're asking for. Absolutely, Default NPC. 1,000% on with you. Without Hot Rod. What? Default NPC? What are you talking about? Come on, man.
Out of the way, Hot Rod.
Out of the way, Hot Rod. I tell, honest to God, I kid you not. My last name begins with R-O-D. So I do that to my brother and my nephew all the time. Out of the way, Hot Rod. All the time. If there's something that is like we're not agreeing with, and even he does it to me too. My brother does it to me too. So that's a fucking fact. JR writes, definitely Hot Rod was an audience surrogate who has turned kind of Messiah. I get what you're saying. And JR clarified Frank Welker. Absolutely, man of 1,000 voices, Frank Welker. That's not even a joke. I mean,
nah.
He's Fred. He's Gizmo.
Yeah.
He's was he Gizmo? No, he wasn't Gizmo. He was
No, that was Howie Mandel.
Yeah, it was Howie Mandel. He was Stripe.
Frank Welker was Stripe and Mohawk.
Stripe and Mohawk, yep.
And a bunch of background gremlins too.
Absolutely. Default NPC says, I'm kidding. I'm a Hot Rod fan. He was my first favorite Autobot. Well, out of the way, Hot Rod. But I digress. 3.
Oh, jeez. We're not counting. It's not Friday.
Exactly. But you could see just in the chat alone, right? How we can have a good time talking about the 86 movie. And yet we're talking about the 40th anniversary of Transformers. That's the whole point. That's the crux of it. That movie is the crux for what was to come afterward. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk comic books. Marvel was doing comic books. They were rocking and rolling with it. They were falling in line with the TV show, but then they went their own way. They were doing things. They were killing Optimus Prime before the movie killed Optimus Prime. It was crazy because they were like, they're robots. We can do that. We can get away with it. Marvel was onto something. Then the movie happened, and then all of a sudden, there was a writer by the name of Simon Furman, who, by God, took the Transformer comic books and expanded so much lore where you're like, yeah, that absolutely happened in the animated series, right? Like, that's legit. And some of it ain't. Some of it ain't. But that man, when he got on that Marvel Comics Transformer line, went in a direction that just fucking worked. That man cooked. He delivered. He gave us the best Transformer meals in comic books at that point in time. And I kid you not, Marvel Comics Transformers 75. It's a thick issue. Pay attention. That is when Unicron comes to Cybertron. And it is all sorts of balls to the walls. And I'll never forget, and I own that comic legit. And it's beat up. It is beat up. But I own that shit. I bought that shit at, oh my God, Something Eagle. I forgot. It was a supermarket, Something Eagle, back in Park Slope, Brooklyn. It's one of my favorite things. Simon Furman took the G1 story, expanded on it, gave us this whole lore and history that we've never seen before, and was like, and introduced all the characters that you needed to create a toy line. Scorponok, the Headmasters, the Pretenders, all of that shit. The fucking Power Masters, the Target Masters, the fucking Micro Masters, all of it. He did that. He did that in those Marvel comics.
God damn.
Yeah. They weren't in the cartoons, not all of them. He did that, and it was like, okay, and he made it work. I've got not single issue, but I've got a lot of the single issues. But I've got the entire Marvel run in trade. I bought it when IDW bought it, and IDW didn't even fucking pick it up. I don't even know who was producing those trades, but I've got them all, and I love every single one of them. I love it. Comics has a lot to do with keeping the Transformers alive.
Mm.
When Dreamwave got the rights to Transformers, I'll never forget this shit, man. I remember seeing this shit in a Wizard magazine and seeing what looks like what this thumbnail looks like. And I'm like, are they making a Transformer comic book that they're continuing the greatest Transformers of all time? And they did. But they revamped it. They kept the original story the same. The Cybertronian War, the fall to Earth, and then from that point on, now we can go in our direction. I like that. As a Doctor Who fan, there's always going to be a crux in time, right? To me, for Transformers, that crux in time is the Cybertronian War. But as soon as they land on Earth and go offline for X amount of years, or the millennia, you could take it to wherever you want to take it at that point. Michael Bay didn't do that in the movies, right? They landed on modern day Earth. They did what they needed to do. But the comic books, literally, the jump off point is the way it was in the animated series. Cybertronian War, Earth. All right, now we can tell whatever story we want to tell. And I loved it. Oh my God. If anybody got those Dreamwave comic books, it was only 2 volumes, and then they started to do like single issues, but I think that only got to 10, maybe 12, 15 at tops, and then Dreamwave went under. But oh, I loved every single one of those books. Oh, they're so good. They're so good. Um, Default NPC says, never read the comics. I do like the original Marvel colors. Listen, Marvel did the damn thing with the comic books. I will always promote that. Read them. They're so good. It gives you so much shit. And then when Unicron shows up, it's so good. Like, it just feels right. It feels like the perfect companion piece to the movie, even though they don't follow the movie. I love it. But Rob, you ever read any of those original Marvel comics?
No, I've actually never dabbled in the Marvel comics. My jump off point were the IDW comics actually. It was the two trades, Monstrosity and Autocracy, because it was around that time that I believe Primacy was coming out, which is it was the third part to those major stories. So that's where I jumped off. And I'm sure you've read Monstrosity, Autocracy, and Primacy, right?
I did.
And, we know that that's like a major like retelling, everything of the Cybertronian War, the Autobots, the Decepticons, the crookedness of the Primes, and all of this like heavily Cybertronian political type stuff. And that, again, like that's when I was like buying my comics every Wednesday when the new comics were coming out. That was my major jump off point. And at that point, I had no idea that Transformers comics were cooking. I had no idea they were ever cooking. I knew they existed, but I didn't know they were like that. So those being my jump off points, and I believe it was Optimus and I don't remember who it was, but they were essentially dropped off in the Badlands of Cybertron, the desert. And I'll never forget them getting surrounded. And out of nowhere, Megatron pops up and he says, Decepticons, protect those Autobots. Something to that extent. Mind fucking blown. Crazed. I had no idea shit like that would be going on ever. And that was my jump off point. After that, I followed a couple of the miniseries, and then unfortunately, I think the last series I read from IDW was the Dark Energon miniseries. Something to that extent. But yeah, hearing you talk about those Marvel comics makes me want to go get those trades and see what's up, because hearing you praise it, I mean, that's all I really need to be sold on it,
No, those are good times. But hey, listen, we got somebody that just entered the chat right now. Aiden's World says, what's going on? Hello. Hey, G-Show. Nice hair. Really? I don't have any, but if you could see that, that's great. Hello. Are you here? If you don't answer me, Thing love Kissing Prime. Oh, you love Kissing Prime? Oh, nah. And now look, I don't know what that is, but there is, Aiden's World is putting up some cherry red. Dude, I don't do memes. I don't know these things. I don't understand these things. But what's up, Aiden's World? I'm glad you're here. Welcome to the G Show. Hang out with us. If you don't, it's fine. Whatever. But hang out with us. We're talking Transformers 40th anniversary. Monstrosity,
yes, indeed we are.
Autocracy, and Primacy. And I definitely butchered all that shit, right? Those were really good. At first, I was like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling this. But then when I did read them, I was like, oh, this shit is great. It was great. It's setting the seeds. It's planting the seeds. I mean, for what's going to happen. It's fantastic. And I will say this: IDW. Even though they don't have the license no more, that original run of Transformers shit was fantastic. And they did different things, like they changed artists. They wanted to make it look a little bit more instead of the movies, because this came out after the movies. Instead of looking like the movies, they made it look a little bit more like the original concepts. But at the same time, they gave them parts that made it look like the movies. Like you can see that they're robots in disguise. I loved all of it. Default NPC says, anyway. And JR says, it sounds like they were mapping a new direction for the series. You ain't lying, JR. It does. I read a lot of the IDW series. I never finished it. That bothered me because I never did finish it, and there's a lot to go. But I'm pretty sure I hit like the midway point. Like they did a Death of Optimus Prime thing. Spoiler alert, he really didn't die. And then that jump started like a whole new different thing. They were doing a lot of different things with Transformers in IDW. And as the chat just keeps on going, hey, NPC, says Aiden's World. NPC says, have you guys seen Transformers 1 already? No. Aiden's World is nothing but spam botting the chat right now. So we're going to call Aiden's World Spam Bot. What do you think? Or should we give him a different name?
Spam Bot sounds pretty good right about now. Because
Spam Bot. Spam Bot says, nah, but NPC. Ha, hello, NPC. Respondee, pretty please. We're not going to speak to Spam Bot no more. That's how it works, right? I think. I don't know. That's how it works. We don't get this on Friday.
Would have been time out.
Yeah, we don't get this shit on Friday, right? We don't get this on Friday. But the IDW comic books, when they went 3 different directions, they went in Robots in Disguise, More Than Meets the Eye, and I think Transformers. There was 3 separate series. I remember Rodimus Prime. I don't even think he was Rodimus Prime yet. I think he was still Hot Rod. Going off on a journey in a mission with a group of Transformers trying to find something. The lost light. I don't remember. But that was when it started to get... And here's where it gets controversial, right? This is where I could say for the first time Transformers outside of Michael Bay movies. Because this is really not controversial, but controversial in terms of, dog peeing on Optimus's leg. That's stupid. But, like, controversial in the comics where you would have people all of a sudden be like, what are they doing? There was love between the Transformers. Love between the Cybertronians. Now, in all honesty, when I was reading it, and I never finished it, but from what I read, I didn't have a problem with it because it wasn't love in the sense of sleeping together, And granted, it was like bot on bot. It wasn't like Alita 1 and Optimus Prime. It was like fucking Cliff Jumper and Cyclonus, let's say. I'm throwing references out, but I remember it was definitely something like that. But let's say it was male and male Cybertronian. And I could see where people would get mad at this. But the way they did it was, why would you get mad at this? Because it was more of a, like me and you, Rob. I call you my brother. I love you. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody that's on this page. Yo, I love you. Y'all my brothers. It was like that, a little bit more heavy-handed, but at the same time, safe. You know what I mean? It was safe enough. Like, I mean, there might have been 1 or 2 things where I was like eyebrow raised, but at the same time, I was like, it makes sense. They're aliens, and maybe this is what happens. They weren't reproducing, is what I'm saying, or trying to reproduce. They weren't. So I'm just like, I wasn't mad at it. Megatron turning factions, okay, switching factions. Megatron becoming an Autobot. There is an issue where I will not lie to y'all. At the end of the issue, I choked the fuck up with Megatron because it was basically Megatron coming to terms with all the lives he's taken through either himself or his actions. And he just, at the end of the book, was standing in a field of flowers and reflecting. And I was like, that's amazing. That was amazing. And that's where I think IDW really fucking like shined. Like, IDW is one of my all-time favorite comic book publishers because they take franchises that I love. Transformers, Ninja Turtles, fucking Godzilla, for crying out loud. G.I. Joe at the time. And they do things with it that just work. There's a bunch of chats in here. Okay. I will see Aiden's World as the G Show. You like Prime as, I mean, you like bacon? All right, we're not going to answer that. But JR says, wow, that's progressive. And I think JR is talking about what we're talking about in terms of the IDW comic books. So, because I think we're on the same page, right, JR? I think we're on the same page. But yeah, no, and that's one of those things that just worked. And then you had shit like, you know, before all of that, you had shit like All Hail Megatron, where the Decepticons won. Where they came to Earth and they whipped the Autobots' ass and they started to rule. That was great. All Hail Megatron was fucking great. Thank you, JR. Thank you for clarifying that. He says, yep, perfect. Things like that was great. IDW really wanted to create this continuity. And I think they succeeded. And again, I didn't finish it, and I really should. But that means I got to go back from scratch. I really got to start from one and read everything. And that's, good God almighty.
That's a lot
That's
of
like
reading and a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, you know, I have my methods.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, I mean,
Relax. You gotta stay out of the Icon district, man. You know that's nothing but trouble.
Nothing but trouble in Icon. You know that. But now that, you know, same thing with comic books, like Skybound now has it. Robert Kirkman has the Transformers. And Robert Kirkman is a fucking huge Transformers fan. And I didn't know this until he was promoting Invincible on Amazon Prime. And he was in an interview, and he's sitting there and he's, you know, talking, and behind him on a table was this humongous Devastator. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, look at that thing. What the fuck? Why does Robert Kirkman, the creator of The Walking Dead and Invincible, one of the greatest comic books ever made, sitting there with a Devastator behind him, one of the greatest Devastators I've ever seen?
Because he's based.
He's based, bro. JR says, I'm not going to veer too far into this, but IDW is doing great stuff in a certain order, in a certain other franchise getting another movie later this year. Well, JR, please let me know what that is, because I am drawing blanks right now. Pretty please. Default NPC says, so what do you guys think the plot for is for Transformers 1? What are your guesses? Well, Default NPC, they pretty much leave the cat out the bag. It's Optimus and Megatron when he's Orion Pax, and I hope they don't call him Megatronus, but when they're, you know, before they're bitter enemies, when they're just like regular dudes. The one thing I will say that's kind of crazy is the fact that they can't transform. That's a new thing. But yeah, I'm not gonna see this movie until it comes out on Paramount Plus or other certain ways.
Yes,
I'm not gonna go.
You're right.
I'm not gonna go see it. Oh,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hold up. Is this JR really JR? Is it JR? Even though he doesn't like none of this stuff? Or is it Ganyhims pretending to be JR? This is weird. This is so weird.
RJR, I don't think he's picked up a Sonic the Hedgehog comic ever.
Definitely not. But
Definitely not.
So appreciate that y'all here. Yes, the IDW run of Sonic the Hedgehog. They just dropped the Batman Day, Sonic X Batman. thing. That was pretty fucking cool. I like that a lot. And
Yeah, Shadow's Batman is very, very fire.
it was dope. It was dope. But yeah, where were we? Oh yes, yes. Robert Kirkman, Skybound, Transformers. Good God Almighty. Let me tell y'all something. If you have not read these comic books, I think issue 12 just came out. So yo, you get the first 2 volumes.
Perfect.
This shit is fucking fire. It is fire. As Default NPC says, so you guys know nothing about the movie. He's laughing. I love it. I love it. All I know about the movie is it's not my type of movie. That's all I know. It's not mine. I don't want this movie. I didn't want this movie. That's all I'm asking. And JR pops in and says, it's funny that your JR saved my bacon. What? He's probably the reason I began looking into Godzilla collectibles. Holy shit. Rob?
What fucking inception are we goddamn living in? Wait a minute. Wait.
Oh, I'm glad we did this live. That's amazing. Wait. So you know J.R. Games, whatever the fuck he calls it, and his crazy ass Godzilla takes. All right, awesome. That's fucking phenomenal. Honestly, that's dope as shit. Did y'all check out Rob though? Because
yeah,
that man.
That's Rob Jira YouTube.
Yeah, Shinrob Jira.
I'm long-winded though.
That's some toy dude right there, bro.
I am some toy dude, and I have Murdered Cinema. His short review of the Godzilla 95 HK landing version made up my mind about getting the -1 Ichiban show instead. Yeah. We were there for that.
Yeah, we were there for that.
We were there multiple times.
All right, so Default NPC says we won't mind spoilers. I don't know. Rob might mind spoilers only because I don't think he's seen the movie. Me personally,
yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but I've been told certain things about it that make me want to go see it. So you can do light spoilers if you wish. I know Ray won't mind, but if you want to drop, a little bit of the garlic salt up on the fucking steak right there as it's sizzling, by all means, do it up. JR
loves you, Rob. I love that. See? Oh my God. So this is great. Looks like 5 degrees of fucking Kevin Bacon or some shit, right? And I am Kevin Bacon.
Somehow you bring all of these people together, and the people that you bring in more people that they didn't even know was like seasoning about or anything. That's great. You're a curator.
How does this
You're like DJ Khaled, except you're talented and not a fucking asshole.
Oh no, not DJ Khaled. I'm DJ Cat. This is the DJ Cat show, and I am DJ Cat. With a D and a J and a K. And let me stop. Nope, no more singing. I stopped singing on Friday. After Hakuna Matata, we're done. We're not singing no more. That's not true. I might sing on my birthday, Rob. Honestly, Rob, listen to me, Rob. The birthday special might be a sing-along. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Fuck.
That's not a bad idea. We're gonna do the Transformers the movie full OST fucking sing-along special.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna sing some Flash Gordon. Maybe a little bit of The Last Dragon. The Never-Ending Story. God.
Bro, I ain't trying to give people the depression.
Rob, all I'm saying is we gotta dare to be stupid.
God damn it.
You see how that works? You see how I tie that back?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, Ray, you really got the touch for that.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Yeah, that's right.
God, I swear to God.
Dared to do it.
You dared to do it. You did, Jesus Christ. Nothing but instruments of destruction up in here.
Oh my God, it's such a fucking banger.
How How the fuck
re-release that shit on vinyl, for fuck's sake, please?
How the fuck did we derail this whole podcast just with us two? We never derail shit. This is crazy.
Bro, it's it's Transformers. And Transformers has been around for 40 years. And Transformers has done a lot in those 40 years.
They sure have. And still on topic of that Skybound series, I gotta be honest. Listen, if you haven't read it, please check this comic book series out. It's fantastic. In the first 6 issues, especially I think issue 6, like the last issue of the arc, I'm just gonna tell y'all right now, like Optimus Prime transforms into truck mode because Devastator is there, transforms, drives up, and in one panel, it says, "You know the song." And as a Transformers fan who's actually wearing an Autobot shirt right now, I fell out my fucking chair at work. Yeah, I was reading this shit at work. I don't care. I fell out my seat. I said, "Oh my God." Because I knew exactly what they were doing. It was the touch. And it was like, yeah, it was like, this is what Optimus Prime is all about. And it was fucking glorious. And now, in this last issue, issue 12, Optimus Prime, he made a decision that changed shit up. And it's just fantastic. So, like, I highly recommend Transformer comic books, whether it's Marvel, and honestly, if you can't buy them physically, you can absolutely buy them digitally. Buy the Marvel comics, read them, especially the Simon Furman runs. Anything with Simon Furman's name on it, you want. Trust me when I tell you, that man is a Transformer lore guy. He wrote most of the Beast Wars. He created that big lore, and we're going to get into that next, because Beast Wars is where it's at, too. Because honestly, if it wasn't for Beast Wars, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Transformers wouldn't be where it's at today. It really wouldn't. But Simon Furman, get his books. The IDW stuff, get them, man. Read them. They're good. And pay attention to Skybound. Skybound is on money. Skybound is on the money. Everything they're doing with the whole Energon universe. Think about it like this. Why are they calling it the Energon universe? You've got Transformers, G.I. Joe, some new shit they're doing. All of that is encompassed in this Energon universe. It's because Transformers means that much to Robert Kirkman, who basically owns Skybound. He literally, if he starts making toys, Rob, if he becomes another Uncle Todd, Rob, I'm in trouble. I'm in deep, deep trouble.
You're in trouble. Bro, I'm already in trouble. Because I'm not going to lie, Ray, you sold me. I've got the Skybound trades in my cart. Volume 2 doesn't come out till November. But I'm looking at this thingy right here. Part of Transformers, the classics. Transformers Compendium 1. And it says here that this collects Transformers 1 through 44. But it's not telling me what, like, issue from discover the heroic Autobots, the evil Decepticons, the galaxy-spanning war that will leave you breathless in the first volume, perfect for fans new and old, collects the Transformers issues 1 through 44. And it doesn't come out till next year. I got it. Ray, maybe you'll know. Hold up. Maybe you'll know. Because I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
So,
hold up. Keep that.
All right. As Rob puts something in the chat to shoot the shit, let's do it.
Who is it? Who is it?
Hang on. No. Cancel that. What the hell? What the hell? Oh. All right, here we go. Visit site. Here we go. Now we're rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're Oh my God, what is that cover about? Are you kidding me? Oh, for $58.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Who made this cover? Who Who did this? This is beautiful. So this is okay. This is the original Marvel stuff. That cover does no justice to. Let me rephrase that. That series does no justice to that cover.
Really?
Yeah.
Cover that good, huh?
Yeah, the cover's that good.
I'd buy that and frame it.
Simon Furman is where it's at when I tell you believe it. Because that is where the lore comes in, and that's where it's like, oh my God. You want Simon Furman and Andrew Wildman, if I'm not mistaken, that was his name. That's who you want. And it's just beautiful. I think we got some more chats here. Hang on. Rob, I love you. Hi, haha. I'm here for it. Default NPC. So, guess who's the main antagonist? JR writes, wow, this is some glorious meta humor. That's funny. That's funny. You know the song. Exactly, JR. Yeah, that's in the comic, man. I'm not making that up. That is a panel in the comic as Optimus is a truck driving a run into fucking Devastator's face. It's the craziest thing. Do they have an omnibus? Maybe. Not the Skybound, but I'm pretty sure the Marvel stuff is coming out in omnibus. And I definitely know that IDW comic books have huge volumes. I don't know if they call them omnibuses, but they're like gigantic volumes. What I heard, though, because I didn't read them in that format, is I heard that a lot of the stuff is kind of like all over the place. So, God, it sucks to say, like, I'm not sold on buying that. Do the research. If I would have done the research before I knew you would have been on here asking this question, I would have been able to give you the right answer. And unfortunately, I can't. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, JR, for that. I am sorry. All I know is when I was going to buy it from Amazon, I was looking at reviews and it was saying that there's a lot of comics in there that are just thrown around. So that's weird. You know, like I would try to follow collections. If you can find trades, I think that would be the best way to go. There is a website and I can't think of the name right now, but this is how I read the Transformers, and it's pretty much, and I use this website a lot. It's like reading the comic books in order, like certain story arcs. So they have like the whole complete IDW series, from beginning to end, how you should read it. And I was doing that, and it works. That's where I would say the omnibuses is wrong because things are not in order. Same thing with Ninja Turtles. Like the Ninja Turtle omnibuses, they're not in order, and it's weird. And you would ask yourself, why would they do that? Because IDW wants to put so much out so fast, and they don't think about the future. Like, you know, Batman Day. Hey, Garth, think about the future. Batman Day. Batman 1.
According to Amazon, this Transformers compendium thing that collects issues 1 through 44 of the original run is being published by Image Comics.
Holy shit. So, wait. So, are you telling me that the rights transfer to whoever owns the rights to Transformers at the time? Because IDW put out Generation 1 comics, like the Marvel stuff.
Well, that's what's really funky here, because this compendium listing on Amazon is showing reviews from almost well over 10 years ago for a completely different book. And this here says right here, from the original series and tie-ins in this new reader-friendly compendium format for the very first time. So I guess Uncle Todd's got something up his sleeve, because this is saying the first 44 issues plus tie-ins.
Now the tie-ins might be that G.I. Joe Transformers where Bumblebee got blown up. One of the most fantastic
Could be.
covers.
I mean, dude, it's saying that it's over 1,000 pages full.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, 44 issues, yeah. But listen, I'm telling you, you want to go. From the Matrix quest on, that's where it starts to hit. And even before that, because there was a thing where like Starscream became like War World or some shit. He became like a fucking planet. And he killed Grimlock, Bumblebee, and Jazz. And then they brought him back to life. Oh my God, I can't. It's so much. It's so much. It's so much. Marvel continuity is beautiful. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes it's hard to read, but when it's good, for the love of everything for the love of Primus, when it's good, it's fucking good. It is fucking good. It is really good. I remember I have an issue where, you know, like I was saying before, I was buying Transformer comic books at a supermarket, and I bought 2 of them there, and you know, a month apart, and it was Ratchet with Ratchet. And Megatron apparently was dead and came back to life. And I was like, what? Megatron's dead? What the fuck? And Megatron was like, I will let you bring back to life these Autobots. And it was Bumblebee, Jazz, and Grimlock. On the condition that Ratchet brought back to life Starscream. This was Megatron telling Ratchet that. It was insanity. It was insanity. And again, Simon Furman just doing it and setting seeds, plotting the seeds. Because then when IDW got it, and then they did Regeneration G1, you don't understand. Time out. This is why Transformers is the greatest. Like, seriously. It's literally, you know what, Rob? You know it's going to be hard. We're going to do this. This is going to be the end all. This is where I sign off on the G Show, Rob. When we do the top 5 franchises of all time. Because once I do that, I'm done. I can't say no more. I'm going to retire. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go to sleep. That's it. It's over prime. Literally, it's over prime. Because it's shit like this. When you get this juicy, this lore and everything with it, it's like, oh man, this is so fucking good. How could it be beat? And then you just look at other franchises and you say, oh, that's fucking dope. Oh my God. And that's been around for forever. I mean, like, look at this shit. And then there's Godzilla. And you're like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Right? So I won't do it yet, but 53 weeks maybe.
Jesus. You don't put that kind of information on my soul like that.
It's over prime. Let's see where we got. So Default NPC says they'll tell us about the movie after, and also says, anyways, the basic plot is miners are the lowest class of Iacon, the main city underground, and Orion Pax is a bot that is tied to the system. Okay, hear me out. That is legitly IDW's Megatron origin. That is IDW's Megatron origin. Orion Pax is not that. It's Megatron that is tied to the system. That is a miner in the thing. See, this is where I'm like, I'm not gonna see it. This is where I'm like, I'm not gonna see it. In Megatron Origins, do you know, Rob? In Megatron Origins, he is a pit fighter, a cage fighter, if you will.
A gladiator.
He's a gladiator. Do you know who he beats up in that book?
No, I do not.
Psykill, the leader of the evil faction of the GoBots. He beats him up. Because at that point in time, Hasbro owns the GoBots. So if you want to use the GoBots in your Transformer book and use them as cannon fodder, well, Psykill was cannon fodder to Megatron before he was Megatron. Default NPC says, and his best friend D16 advises him to follow the protocol when in the mines Jazz gets stuck, and Orion breaks protocol to save him at the cost of Alita's job.
Alita.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But don't use Jazz like that, man. Don't use Jazz like that. Come on, man. Jazz was the best. This is why I hated Transformers 1. I love the first Transformer first Transformer Bay movie, I hated that they killed Jazz. They used them in the wrong way. It was wrong. They shouldn't have done that. I'm not going to say it out loud, but Michael Bay's a racist.
What's cracking, little bitches?
That spewed out my mouth. Default NPC says, then we see the great Sentinel Prime. Oh, shit, Sentinel Prime. Okay. But where's, what's his head? The leader of Icon, and he goes to the surface looking for the long-lost matrix of leadership. Ooh, I got one of those shirts. Which was once wielded by the Primes that died during the war against... And I guess we're going to have to be continued, because Default NPC is leaving us on a cliffhanger. Oh, wait. The Quintessons, of course. I mean, why not, right? Like, why wouldn't the Quintessons be in it? Then he announces that Icon 5000. Icon 5000. That's actually a cool fucking name for a fucking album. And Orion Pax thinks this is the perfect chance to show everyone that miners can be so much more. So much more that they can be, robots in disguise. Yeah,
You're not vibing with it, huh?
I it's okay. I'm not mad. Like, I don't hate it. I just get mad at the fact that Paramount does all of this work and then says, why isn't it working? Because your fan base is still the children from 1984. You got to give the people what they want before they're dead. Because when they're dead, you'll be dead too in terms of your financials, in terms of business. Give us what we want. Let me tell you, and I swear on everything, I'm not making this up. You give us a Generation 1 with Frank Welker and Peter Cullen. One last hurrah! And you will revitalize the franchise that is Transformers. You will make more money than you ever think to make. Because after you do that, for us, we will show out for you. And let the generations below us, our children, our grandchildren, we will let them know this is why Transformers is relevant. You had Michael Bay make a bunch of piss jokes and stupid shit, and it was dumb and it was bad. And then you had Bumblebee come out, and the first 5 minutes you had the War of Cybertron, and everybody pointed to that and said, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what we want. Because that was it. For whatever, 6 movies before that, 5 movies before that, you said, we can't do that. You did it in 5 minutes. You did it in 5 minutes. Fuck you mean?
Last minute, too. That's the funniest part. Like, that whole Cybertron thing was the last thing they did for that movie.
It's the craziest thing.
It's probably one of the most memorable things from the movie. Save for the movie actually just being fire.
So, Default NPC says, so in the day of the race, he goes and makes D16 go to one of the best seats of the race, seeing the starting line. There, Sentinel gives him a speech about the fallen 13 Primes. Oh, I like that they threw in the 13 Primes. That's pretty cool. Hold up. Pacific 414. Hey, Pacific 414. Is that like a Pacific Rim reference? Because if it is, you are my guy. You are my person. I don't know, guy, girl, but you are my person. And I love you. I love you. And Pacific 414 says, you're not wrong. Default comes back and says, when the race starts, Orion gives D16 a mining jetpack and joins the race. There, they try to survive the dangerous race while the rest of the audience is amazed by 2 miners in a Transformers race. So we're saying that Megatron and Optimus does a pod race.
Hell yeah.
God damn it. JR comes in. What I appreciate about one. See, I can't speak. This is bad business. About one is the style is pretty close to a modern G1. Okay, I'll get back to that. The goofy spirit is refreshing, but yeah, it's a facade engineered to sell tickets and toys. Okay, JR. See,
Just look at all the toys.
And that's it. See, that's it. But that's it right there. Like, the Goofy spirit is refreshing. For me, I don't want Goofy, right? But I understand Goofy. I do. I 1000% understand it. And my thing is, again, it comes down to the voice acting. I can't buy him. I can't buy into it. I can't buy into it. Good God Almighty. Good God Almighty. Do you all understand, G1, that's me, what his number one beef outside of the Michael Bay jokes, which is all totally relevant, with King of the Monsters was? Rob, I know you know. If you can't be original, don't do it. Just don't do it. Just don't.
In a world full of copycats, just being original.
Just don't take the second greatest Godzilla monster thing, Rodan. Don't take Rodan. Take that turn and make that thing whatever it sounds. Fucking Rodan with it. Fucking Rodan.
Still a fresh wound some years later.
It never heals. It never heals. I'll watch that movie. I'd be like, this movie is fucking dope. And then it's not dope because the jokes are Michael Bay Transformer jokes. And then Rodan sounds like that. Even though it's a dope sound. It is a dope sound. It is a dope sound. It's a dope kaiju sound. It is. It's just not Rodan. It's one of my problems. One of my problems. Somebody text me right now. You'll hear it. The Transformer sound pops up. The original Generation 1 Transformer sound pops up whenever I get a text message. You know why? Because it's fucking classic. Because it's fucking sentimental. Because it means something. It's like lightsabers lighting up. You hear that shit, you're like, oh, that's a lightsaber. You hear transform. You go, that is Transformers.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly.
There's a lot of chat going on, Rob. This is crazy shit. Default NPC says, when they fall behind, they see a vent that can send you to the other side of the city, quote unquote, and then they get sent into the first place of the race. Sadly, D16 gets hit by something, and when Orion helps him, there's a pause, and then Pacific 414 comes back. Unfortunately, it's not a Pacific Rim reference. Love the movie, though. No problem, Pacific 414. You clarified. I love you. Thank you anyway for joining us. I appreciate that. I do. Default NPC comes back. Chromia! Wow! Speak of the devil. Chromia runs them over and wins the race. After her comes the rest of them, leaving the two miners disappointed and awaiting punishment in the infirmary. After, oh God, Arachnid comes to the room. Wow.
What?
Wow, we're getting Black Arachnia in here, huh? All right, okay. I'm still waiting for Paramount Plus. JR writes, did they make a bug from the OG Rodan movie? They should have.
A toy, I mean.
A toy, I mean. Did they?
Did they?
They didn't make a Mega Nulon. No, I don't think they made a Mega Nulon.
I think they made an HG of the original Mega Nulon, but I don't believe there was ever like a mainline 6 to 8 inch release of a Mega Nulon at that point, which is a damn shame because that thing absolutely deserves it. I do believe there was an HG release though. They did the Mega Nula from Godzilla versus Megaguirus, but I digress because that's a whole different discussion.
Completely. But I would buy a Mega Nulon. Are you kidding me? I would absolutely own one of those. Especially with a fucking 56 Rodan with the Mega Nulon in his mouth. That would be dope. Oh, stop, Ray. Stop. G1, stop, G1. Default NPC says, she scans them and then says, it's safe. After the Sentinel Prime comes in and congrats them for participating and saying that the miners already did double their quota. Orion and D16 inspired them. Y'all catching up? I'm pretty there. I'm pretty much there. Pacific 414 says G1 is special because of voice talent, like Frank Welker and Peter Cullen, and the characters we grew to know and love. Absolutely, Pacific 414. That's exactly what we're saying. Like, All you gotta do, Paramount, in order to succeed, is one last ride. That's it. And fuck around, get Judd Nelson. Why not? Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Default NPC says, and Sentinel, before leaving to yet another trip to search for the Matrix, tells Arachnid to send these two to his personal service tower, which was the highest rank for a miner, but after. And then Pacific 414 says, we grew to love. I love that Default NPC is just giving us the business with this movie right now. I mean, you know, it's literally, like, it's not really spoilers. There's some spoilers in there, but I don't know if these are major spoilers. For me, I'm not spoiled about nothing. The Arachnid thing, yes, because that's, you know, interesting. I mean, could you imagine he says Rhinox pops out next? I'd die.
I would shit.
Like, the Rhinox is, I swear to God, and I kid y'all not, Rhinox was one of my favorite characters in Beast Wars. So when Beast Machines, Rhinox went all bad and became Tankor, that fucked me up. And I was already an adult. Listen to me. I was already an adult. And I was like, yo, but Rhinox, like, oh, it killed me. Because I love Rhinox.
Rhinox is the boy. He farted and killed all the fucking Predacons.
He
didn't kill them, but he sent them flying.
He totally knocked them the fuck out. It's just crazy. Oh, let's speak on that Beast Wars shit. I mean, we should jump into that now, because we should give props to everything that's came after, that's kept Transformers going for 40 years. And Beast Wars was the start of that. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea in terms of animation. It wasn't mine. Until one of my good friends, one of my fellow brothers in the hood, told me, yo, do you know that Megatron blew up Optimus Prime's face? And I said, what are you talking about? And he started to explain how they incorporated Generation 1 into Beast Wars. And then he said, yeah, Megatron's a dragon. And I go, shut up. That doesn't make sense. That's not true. And he's like, no, it is. And then I went and I watched, and I could not believe what I saw with my very own eyes. He was right. And that's when I was like, this is the greatest shit of all time. And then you see who wrote the episode, and it says Simon Furman. And I go, of course it was. Of course. A fucking course. And then from that point on, and I argue with one of my best fucking friends. I argue with him all the time. Look past the animation and pay attention to the story that's being told. Because the story that's being told is fucking fire. It's fire. Like, and I get it, because the animation ain't that good. It ain't. It ain't. But the story drives it home, and it's like, I could deal with all of this. I could deal with all of it. And I loved it. And good God almighty, was Beast Wars something else, man. Like, it really did something I don't even think it intended to do.
Honestly, no, because, I mean, when you look back at season 1, you can see inklings of it, but it's really until, like, the beef, the meat, and the potatoes for season 2 starts to, like, bake and everything. That's when it really feels like, oh, fuck. They know exactly what they're doing. Like, and they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget fucking Optimus Primal pulling a Sonic Adventure 2 battle in that pod when he blows up, and everybody's like, no, he's dead. And, you know, that was the first time my Prime ever died. But no, seriously, fucking Sonic, I don't know who technically did it first, but Optimus Prime and Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Adventure 2 kind of almost went out in the same way and went out with a fake out death, all for them to just not be dead. I'm just saying, but I digress. Anyway, no. Beast Wars Beast Wars transcends just how it looks. It transcends, the datedness of it. The fact that they were able to do any of that back in the day is still a feat for TV back in the 90s, I still say. And like at that point in my life, the deepest thing that I was watching at that point was Dragon Ball Z. I was 2 years removed from Gundam Wing, Rurouni Kenshin, Yu Yu Hakusho, all of the Toonami after school things. So Beast Wars was the first time I was watching a cartoon and it was like, holy fuck, I need the day to be over so I can wake up tomorrow and watch it before school starts. I got to put my Pop-Tart in the toaster. I got to get my glass of milk. I got to sit down. Nothing fucking matters. I don't care about school. I need to see what these guys are up to. And, bro, yeah, that was part of the reason why I fell in love with Transformers. That story, those characters. Bro, when Dinobot died? Spoiler. I mean, it's known as one of the best episodes of Beast Wars for a reason. Because I felt that as a 5-6-year-old. I felt it as an 18-year-old. I felt it as a 25-year-old. And I felt it as a 30-year-old. That shit does not go away. Ever.
That shit was badass. That shit was.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was like, well, they killed a bunch of Transformers off in the movie. Why can't we kill a bunch of these people off now? I mean, like, yo, no, you can, and it works. And it's like, you don't see this in TV. What the fuck? It's like the first time, Happy Batman Day, when I saw Batman the Animated Series, I didn't want to watch that shit. I remember, I'll never forget, when I saw the design for Batman, I said, what is that? That ain't Michael Keaton's Batman. What the fuck is that? I was mad as fuck, right? Happy Batman Day, and this is the only reason why I'm bringing it up. I was like, what is that? And then they did the premiere on a Sunday night. Okay? 8 p.m. prime time. I think it was 8, maybe it was 7. Who remember? But it was prime time. It was in the evening, and it was a Sunday. And they put that first episode on. And I said, I'm going to watch it out of spite. And it was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. I was, oh my God. And it was with Mandat. And I'll never forget in that episode. And again, it was prime time. Batman slams into the fucking side of a GPCD blimp. Boom! And busts his mouth open. And you see the blood trickle down. I've never seen the blood outside of G.I. Joe the movie. Never seen blood, and that don't count, by the way. Never seen blood in an American animated show. They did it there, right? And I forgot where I was going, but what I'm trying to say is Batman, Transformers, and Batman, the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. That's what I'm trying to say.
Doing shit on TV you ain't never seen before.
Right, and that was it. Batman did it, that first episode, and Beast Wars was doing it by killing off these characters. What the fuck? Because they weren't doing it before the movie. And even after the movie, they really weren't killing off characters, By the way, I saw a post-movie episode of Transformers that was written by Paul Dini himself. Paul Dini, who co-created Batman the Animated Series with Bruce Timm.
Wow.
And it was insane, and I loved it, and it dealt with, the craziest thing was, it was like almost a precursor to Beast Machines. The Quintessons had created a race of organic and metallic beings. They were monsters. They ran amok. They couldn't control them. This was predating the Transformers. They couldn't control them. They thought they got rid of them. They thought they put them away. There was one they fucking found. They sent Galvatron, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps, and they told them, "Yo, you get this for us. You're gonna rule Cybertron." They were of course playing tricks on them because they were like, "This thing is a fucking energy vampire," and this thing came out and literally it was an energy vampire. It was taking all the fucking sweeps and is draining them of energy, and then they would turn into like energy vampires. They would turn gray, and they would like grab you, and then you would turn gray, kind of like when Optimus Prime returned and shit. But I digress.
It was such a cool episode. I was sitting there, I was like, this is fucking dope. But it was Paul Dini, Batman the Animated Series, Transformers. The connection is there. Transformers and Batman the Animated Series. Hardak comes from Cybertron Industries, spelled Cybertron, Cybertron Industries. So I'm just going to say right now, the connections of two of my all-time favorite franchises is there, and I love it. Back to Beast Wars.
Beast Wars.
When you find the Ark, and Optimus Primal takes the spark after Megatron literally blows Optimus Prime's face off, takes Optimus's spark, and this is where sparks first came into play, and turned into Optimal Optimus. It was unbelievable. But when Megatron did it and turned into the fucking dragon, I mean, stop everything. Just stop everything. It was... It's just glorious shit. And it's like lore. Again, writing history. Expanding on history and lore. And giving it a fresh new flavor. Even though these things are the future. The Maximals, the Predacons, they are the future of what we know. And they come back and it's just like, I'm done. Oh my God. Hell, we got some more people in the chat.
Oh, the chat.
The chat's blowing up. All right. So I want to say real quick, oh my God. JR says Rhinox was pretty cool, the straight man of the Maximals. Absolutely. Default NPC comes in, continue with Transformers 1. They meet the only bot that worked down there, B127. He hasn't seen anyone in a very, very, very long time, and his only job is to watch garbage burn. Then D16 rants about how Orion ruined everything. Then JR comes in. I was 7-ish when Beast Wars began. It was my first Transformers anything. Shit.
Right there with you.
Just like Rob. I love it. And you should. I think JR is Rob. But I digress. Default comes back. Then in one of B127's crafted friends, quote unquote, made out of junk, he finds a hologram of an SOS message. Oh my God, are you talking Star Wars here? Oh no. From none other than Alpha Trion, finally, calling the High Guard and giving the location of where the Primes died. Orion convinces D16 to go to the surface and find the Matrix so that they can give it to Sentinel and make the Energon flow on Cybertron once again. So they climb up the garbage chute and get in the garbage disposal train, which is where Elita 1 got demoted. See, this is all stupid. Like, not saying what you're writing is stupid. I'm just saying this plot is dumb. Where Elita 1 got demoted and she finds them dirty-handed, so she goes to snitch, but the train starts and the door is shut. Sounds like GVK to me.
Oh boy.
JR writes on Leathered Wings. That's right, JR. That was the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series that ever fucking showed on TV or Fox at that fucking Sunday night on Leathered Wings. Thank you. Oh, I love this guy. I love him. Langstrom's transformation to this day is still fantastic. Absolutely. Langstrom's transformation, right? And Clayface, when Batman lures him into the room with all the monitors and he sees everything he's ever did, and he starts to do that spin thing and he's turning into all of the characters. That is animation at its peak. Mwah, I love that shit.
That was movie level budget on TV.
Yeah.
I won't forget ever seeing that for the first time and thinking, is this even allowed on TV? I mean, I was a young boy, so that's why. But dog, everybody posted that clip on Twitter like maybe a month ago, and it's like, fuck. They had it.
They had it.
They absolutely had it.
They had it. Now we have a new chat member. King Starscream. Oh my God. I'll bow down. I bow down. Hi y'all. This channel just randomly popped up when I opened up YouTube. I'm actually pretty new to Transformers minus Beast Wars. And my dad took me to see Transformers 1 for my 22nd birthday yesterday. Well,
Fire.
King Starscream. That's dope. That's dope. Happy birthday, 1. Okay? Happy birthday, 1. Let us know what you thought of Transformers 1. Especially because you're new to it. And that's the thing. Like, I like that. You know what I'm saying? You're new to Transformers. So if Transformers 1 was something that's like, okay, this is one of those things I can latch onto, let us know. Because that's the thing. And this is what Paramount and Hasbro wants. They want people like you. They want to catch this newer generation. Whereas old folk like me are very bitter and old and want the old shit just one more time, just once. I mean, all I ask for is before they join the Matrix, give me them in one more animated feature, and then we can move on with life. Default NPC says, then the train goes into the surface, making the bots stop fighting and seeing that the surface is beautiful. Then Orion explains their plan to Alita, which is against that. And when she's about to turn, a Cybertronian mountain starts forming, taking out the train and making them fall off. Then they wake up and the train goes right past them since it's automated. So Alita takes the lead of the mission. Yeah. Exactly like lore. I mean,
y'all can't see his face. But I can, and the man is not impressed.
I'm not. I'm not like, and again, I'll watch this movie when it's convenient for me. I'm not going to the movies. The popcorn bucket looked dope though. The cups look dope. I can't lie. I should go to the movies and just get the cups. You know me. I'm a cup connoisseur. But, nah. I just want more. Listen. Here we go. Give me the legitimate bridge between Generation 1 and Beast Wars. I already have it. I know it. In my heart of hearts. I wrote it. A long time ago. Now, Netflix tried to do something with it. They had everything, but they did not do it justice. Netflix was right there. It was there. It was there for the taking. And then we get Narcoleptic Prime.
Well, I'll say this much about the Netflix trilogy series. The toys was fire.
The toys were fire. The toys, listen, man. Listen, as someone who went to, listen, I was in Walmart this morning at 6:30 in the morning, right? And I had to get my stuff. I had to get, stuff from Walmart. I decide to mosey on into the toy section. There is a lot of Transformers 1 and GXK shit. There was a ton of GXK shit. And I was like, they had Tiamat. I almost bought it. I almost bought Tiamat. But then I was like, wait a minute. They also have like McFarlane Batman stuff. So I went over to the McFarlane section. And I was like, yes. And I bought 2 of those. And that was my trip. But Dead Space sucks. Not the game. Me forgetting what I was going to say. So I'm just going to go to the chat. Where Default NPC says, they get closer when they see the Cybertronian equivalent of deers start running. So they follow them and see a Quintesson ship get into the surface. Okay, before I go on, does the Quintesson ship look like the Quintesson ship from the original 86 movie? Default, let us know, please. Which they're supposed to be dead for a long time. Quintessons, apparently. They hide from them and finally get to the location, finding the dead primes, and no Matrix than a light is seen under some rocks. This is really like Default NPC is giving us the plot. Maybe I should stop reading this, right? Like Default NPC, I love you to death. I might stop reading the plot. What do you think, Rob? Should I continue? I don't know.
I don't know. Like, I've already heard enough that, I'm probably gonna go see it this week. So maybe, yeah.
They take off the rocks and find Alpha Trion deactivated, but alive. JR comes in. Wasn't the bridge just the time gap between the stasis of the G1 Autobots and the prehistoric Maximals, or am I misremembering? No. Yes. Wait a minute. So when the Maximals hit, they hit like 1,000 years after the Ark hit Earth, because there was still dinosaurs around, so it was still the prehistoric era when the Maximals and the Predacons hit. So that's why they transformed into those into beast modes. Well, it could have been more, because I mean, fuck, there was rats and, well, not saber-toothed tigers, but fucking Cheetor, right? Defeats the purpose of everything.
Sure.
Default NPC, while I try not to think too hard about that, Default NPC says they give him Energon and he revives. He wonders why the miners have no cogs and can't transform, and why even there are miners if the Energon flows. When they explain about it, mention Sentinel Prime. Okay. King Starscream, get it right. I'm pretty biased. I like goofy cartoons, and it was the first 3D movie I seen. Default NPC says, no, it doesn't. It's not a giant adult toy. It's like an Imperial Star Destroyer, but organic. It's okay, I can stop. King Starscream says, however, I did like the D16 and Pax friendship and watching it devolve. I guess that's the biggest thing we should not spoil. What is the crux between Optimus and Megatron? We shouldn't spoil that. We keep that away. Keep that away from this podcast. Keep that away from the chats.
Yeah, we'll talk about it once it hits Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
We'll have our big round table discussion about it over some beers.
Right. Because if anybody heard my Mutant Mayhem TMNT review, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't like Mutant Mayhem. I do, though. Sound off in the chat below.
Man, that move, man. Beast Wars goes to Beast Machines. Rob, what did you think of Beast Machines?
I'll tell you exactly what I thought about Beast Machines. I saw the commercial for the toys first, and I was like, nah. Nope. Get the fuck out of here. And then I saw the first 3 episodes, I think. I don't remember what channel that was on, but I caught the first 3 episodes, and I was like, ooh.
Were you living in Jersey at the time?
Oh, dude, I've lived in Jersey my entire life.
It was Fox 5.
Fox 5. Yep, you right. You fucking right. But no, Beast Machines, I was one of those people that was just turned off by what was going on. I've been filled in. People have told me what happened. I've watched a couple episodes here and there. Beast Machines just felt... It felt like too drastic to me. I mean, I wasn't funking with the designs. I thought the designs from Beast Wars were perfectly fine moving in. And then going into Beast Machines, it's just like everything was just... These motherfuckers was listening to way too much Edema, way too much Linkin Park. It's like, y'all got the angst in your soul. You don't need that right now, please. You gave Cheetor fucking evil Angoria legs, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh my god. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long, long time.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
That is hysterical. Yeah.
Yeah, Beast Machines wasn't my vibe.
I totally vibed with Beast Machines. I did because at that point in time, they already had me hooked with the lore. So I was in. I was like, I don't care what this looks like, right? I can close my eyes and just listen to what they're telling me, because this is Transformers for me at its purest. You know, like this is what Transformers is. It's this battle between good and evil, and then they even switch it. It went from Megatron hating being organic to going back to pure Cybertronian metal, even though he had the curse still with. I mean, did you get that far when he transforms into a werewolf and then he transforms back into the dragon Megatron?
Wow, no.
Dude, it's insane, bro. It's insane. It's so
all right. You
fucking
convinced
good.
me. I'll watch Beast Machines.
Yeah,
Fuck
dude, it's so good. It was so good, and I think it lasted one season. I think it was maybe two. I think it got 2 seasons. But it was a shortened second season, if I'm not mistaken. I could be absolutely wrong. But all I know is I watched every fucking episode religiously Saturday morning on Fox 5. And I was like, yes, this is dope. To the point where I was like, I was on the phone with my people, with my buddies, Transformer heads. After every episode, like, yo, did you see that? It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I loved it. And I loved the idea of what they did with Cybertron. And again, it didn't take away nothing from what came before. And even before Beast Wars. It was the evolution of the Cybertronian species. I loved that. See, and again, I go back, not even to jump on this topic and to hate on this topic, but you look at Star Wars and you say, why does something like the Acolyte fail? Now, a lot of people point, in one direction. I don't. I point in the direction of, well, they're breaking lore. So when they break lore, and it fails, like, this is not what should be. You can do everything you're doing in this show, but just do it 100,000 years later. Or not 100,000, but 100 years later. And it works, and it's a fucking flawless show. It's all about lore, for me personally. You tell a good story, and you don't contradict, we're in. That, for me, is what Transformers has been doing for 40 plus years. Granted, there's different variations, and I'm okay with that, but it's always that core. It's always that thing that they don't change, That's what I love about it. JR writes, I like Mutant Mayhem. I'm sorry, JR. But you can hang out.
Me too, dude.
You could totally hang out on this podcast. We'll talk about that someday soon. We have a Ninja Turtles thing that's supposed to come out soon, and hopefully it will. But we will do something. Default says, yeah, I won't get into the part of the betrayal. I do want to get to Starscream though. Okay, I seen Starscream in the trailer. JR writes, with regards to Star Wars, we could really stand to explore Knights of the Old Republic. Agreed. I'm not a fan of Knights of the Old Republic only because, and it's not the story, I'm not a fan of that type of gameplay. I bought it. I played it. I fell asleep early. An hour and I think I passed out. I'm not even lying. I was playing it and I just laid down. I was like, this is fun. You can take a nap. No problem. Then I traded that shit in. I never got into the crux of it. But nothing to contradict from what I know. Yeah, why not? Rob, let me ask you about this.
Ask me.
After Beast Machines came Robot in Disguise, a brand new era of Transformers. Completely different from anything we've seen before. Unrelated to G1. Beast Wars, Beast Machines. It's its own entity. Yet, they utilize so much shit from Transformers G1, Beast Wars, and Beast Machines. Did you watch that show in its entirety, and what did you think?
Okay, so I was on board with that show from the minute it started. But if you remember, I'm sure you do, around the time that this show was like really getting into it, a certain event happened in New York City around that point in time, and the series didn't get canceled, but a lot of like its running order got a bit mixed up because they had to go back and take out certain phrases, certain scenes, certain words, all that type of stuff. That, I mean, I believe there's a whole episode where they had to take out an entire plot point from it because it was just too close to what was going on at the time. So unfortunately, that kind of killed the momentum for me because I think we were like maybe 15, 16 episodes in, and then everything just kind of it dropped off the face of the earth. The momentum stopped, and then they started re-airing everything from the beginning. And I was an idiot kid. I had a very small attention span, and I didn't get to finish it. It's in my bookmarks though, so I will be partaking, absolutely. But I mean, the designs were wild, the toys were great. I was totally feeling what was going on. It was just one of those things where you're a kid and you want things to keep going. And I believe at that time, Dragon Ball Z was like fucking going. I believe this is when G Gundam started, and that had a pretty smooth transitional phase from episode to episode. That weird 3D animated Gundam show was on at that point in time too. Yu Yu Hakusho, Rurouni Kenshin, Batman the Animated Series. It was all there. So I kind of had to shift from what I was watching with that to something else, unfortunately. But I will say this: I had a bunch of the toys. Absolutely, the the voice cast had me a little confused because it was very different. It was a different take. It had a different voice cast. We had a Shark reading poetry. Loved that guy. He was fantastic. Bro, a fucking robot shark reading poetry. Optimus Prime giving him his Roger E. Burton saying, you didn't really rhyme correctly there. Your structuring is all off there, buddy. Like, it was so obviously like a body of work that came, and then they came in and they dubbed it over. They injected a lot of that American humor into it, I think. But yeah, unfortunately, I was all about it. The big reset happened. Certain things, I believe episodes aired out of order after that. And it turned into a mess. And I went over to Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin because they were going a smooth trajectory at that point. But Armada came after that. And Armada was huge for me. But I want to hear your take on Robots in Disguise.
I couldn't believe what the fuck I was watching when it first came out. I was like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
This? Yeah. After Beast Machines, this is what you're giving me? What is this? And again, I understood Transformers continuity and how there was a multiverse at that point in time. I did because TransformerCon, right? Like BotCon.
Mm-hmm.
BotCon. I have comic books, okay, that weren't from, at that point in time, Marvel or Dreamwave, because IDW didn't have it yet. I had comic books that weren't from Marvel or Dreamwave that were created in this independent circle that was called Transformers Universe, that was literally a multiverse of Transformers. You had... It's great. It was crazy, and it was people who just went to BotCon and they did their damn thing. If I'm not mistaken, one of the comic book artists, Don Figueroa, started at this convention doing these comics, and it's fantastic. It's fucking fantastic. So I knew about the multiverse, right? But at the same time, you just came off of Beast Machines and you're giving me this? Because here's the deal. There are Predacons in this. I want continuity.
I want continuity. The Decepticons are not Decepticons. They're Predacons, but the Autobots are Autobots. Wait, what? How? Right? So that's how I felt. That's where I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I didn't watch it. Like, I watched one episode, maybe two. I was like, nope, this ain't it. This ain't it. It wasn't until after Armada, what was the next one? Energon, right?
It was either Energon or Cybertron. I
think it
can't
was
remember.
Energon. I think it was when Energon came out. Now the comic books were coming out. I found the complete series of Robots in Disguise, and I knew what it was now. I knew it was like a complete different take. I found it on eBay for like $20, the entire series. So I bought it. Yeah, they're bootleg. Fuck it. And then I watched it all, and I was like, you know what? I'm not mad at this. For what it is in this little self-contained pocket universe, I like it. Yes, they got Fortress Maximus. Fortress Maximus, it's Fortress fucking Maximus. They didn't change the design. That is the Generation 1 Fortress Maximus. Okay, no problem. Didn't hate it. I liked it. I tried to watch some of the Japanese stuff. And I love Japanese animation. But I could never, ever get into Japanese Transformers. I just cannot. I can't. And it hurts because they have these ideas that work, especially when in terms of continuing G1, they have these ideas that work, but then you have these other ideas that they're just weird. I try to watch Beast Wars and Beast Wars Neo, which I thought was fantastic ideas. When you read the concepts, you're like, oh, that shit's gonna be fucking dope. And then I can't because then becomes goofy. And that was my big thing. It's like the original Transformers was never goofy. It was never goofy. Then the movie came out and there was nothing goofy about it. They killed everybody. So where the fuck, this is the most serious fucking animated series of all time, before Batman came out, of all time. And this shit is goofy. Why? Like, that bothers me. To this day, it still grinds my gears. You know what I mean? I'm like, no. But yeah, it took me a minute. It took me a couple of years to get into Robots in Disguise, and I do like it again for what it is in that little pocket universe. I think it works. It's perfect. I will absolutely tell y'all though, I've never seen the Energon, Cybertron, and Armada trilogy in its entirety. I've never done it.
Here's the funny thing. Here's the funny thing about that. So, Robots in Disguise. How do I put this correctly and nicely? From what I remember, it was kind of cobbled together as a bit of a space filler after Beast Machines, Space Marine. What the fuck? Brain rot. It was cobbled together and put on the airwaves because Takara Tomy and I believe, I can't remember the name of the other company, basically the Unicron trilogy, Armada, Cybertron, Energon, and everything, that was a collaborative effort between Takara Tomy and this other company. So Armada comes out and it kind of suffers, I believe, kind of what Beast Wars suffered from at first. It took a little bit to like really get started with some peeps. Me, it was immediate, so I can't speak from that. But let me tell you something about Armada. One, Armada is, oh man, how do I even put that together? Armada is a step. Let me put it to you. Armada is definitely a step that was taken, and yes, it was low budget. Some of the animation was not finished. I mean, there are whole scenes where nobody fucking moves an inch. But the things that they did with the characters, the things that they did with the lore, the things that they did making Starscream more of a tragic character than a cynical character, giving Megatron a moment where he finally accomplishes his goal and he gets Prime. There's whole episodes where Megatron doesn't know what to do with himself after that. This man is in his post-victory depression. And he don't come out of it until Optimus comes back. There's a grand moment where Optimus and Megatron shake. They join forces after we lose Starscream in probably one of the most memorable episodes from the franchise. And it's all to unite against Unicron. Wow. This was a huge fucking deal to me as a kid because it was marketed for the first time ever in toy format, Unicron. We got a giant fuck off Unicron. And that's what got a lot of people hooked in because it's just like, oh, they ain't fucking about here. And I believe it got like 3 different versions of it too, which is great. But that was a big point of me loving Armada as well, is just the fact that as characters are getting introduced, toys are coming out. Sure enough, the week that Sideways gets introduced, there's toys on the shelf over in Toys R Us. When the series first started, practically everybody that was in those first episodes that were Transformers, their figures were on the shelves. This was planned. This was like they had a plan going into this. And Armada was, after Beast Wars, the first Transformers series that I watched from start to finish. Start to fucking finish. Because it was around that time, you know, Shout Factory Shout Factory did their G1 DVD box set. When that stuff was coming out, it was a grand old time because I was able to go back. I believe it was around that time. I'm old. Anyways. Transformers Armada at that point for me, it was just like, okay, well, you can't go better than Beast Wars and Armada. How are they going to follow it up? I don't remember which one came first, Cybertron, Energon, but it was like a unanimous decision that like a majority of people were like, yeah, I ain't feeling this. It was like Beast Wars animation, but cell-shaded with no emotion, though. Yeah. That's what fucked a lot of people up.
That's what fucked me
up. Because Beast Wars, the animation's not great. I think it's charming. But then you move on into this one, and it's like, this is like stop motion without the motion. There's no emotion. It's Lion King, the live-action remake, as directed by Jon Favreau. You know, these motherfuckers weren't smiling. They weren't emoting. They weren't having fun. I wasn't having fun. But it's also a series that introduced me to my favorite Transformer, Shockwave. So I can't really be upset with it. But the series to follow it did it a bit better. So at least there's that. I don't mean to skirt over the entirety of the Unicron trilogy, but Armada is really the only one that had me hooked start to finish.
I bought like, I think I got the entirety run of Armada, comic book wise, and then I bought like the first couple issues of Energon, and then I just stopped. I was reading them. I was reading the comics more than I was watching the shows. I couldn't get into the shows like at all. I couldn't get into Energon. So I never gave, not Energon, Armada. I never gave Energon or Cybertron a chance, right? Though, in hindsight, when you go back and you say, oh shit, what the fuck? They were doing all that craziness? It's nuts. Mm-hmm. It is nuts. It is nuts. And they created their own lore. And again, pocket universes, right? Transformers animated, right? Transformers animated. That's hard to watch, but there's so much in there that you're like, that shit works. And then my third favorite animated franchise, because I'm counting Beast Wars and Machines as one, my third favorite franchise is Prime. When Transformers Prime came out, I was like, well, this is everything I want from Transformers. And it's kicking ass. And it did
Oh God, I love that show. I do. I love everything about that show. I loved everything. I loved it leading into the beast, whatever the fuck that shit was. The dragons. Oh my God, what the fuck was it?
Beast Hunters?
Beast Hunters. Oh God. All of that worked for me. All of that worked for me. I loved everything about that. I really did. There was a lot of things I was like, oh, but I was totally on board with that. And I thoroughly loved it. Thoroughly loved that. Everything else is like more for children. The rescue bots and stuff like that. That's cool. I can't even be mad at that. Like, I think that actually makes sense. Hell, honestly, if rescue bots, and I don't know, but if rescue bots was making a lot of if it was getting a lot of views, why not do a rescue bots movie? You know, because then that's where the parents go and they take their kids. When you do Transformers 1, it ain't rescue bots, so the kids don't care. Like Paramount doesn't know where the fuck they're falling, and it's just like, we don't want that. But I digress. 25. JR says, Armada was so good. Getting into Japanese Transformers was easier in my experience, coming from being a fan of Pokemon, Digimon, Metabots, etc. Kids being alongside the bots as main characters was no different. Fair.
Actual.
Default NPC says, I love the Energon Megatron designs. King Starscream says, oops, not trying to spoil anything. I watched, I think, 3 of the Bay movies, but stopped because my partner said that those movies don't. D-O-N, Don. They don't exist. They don't. Don't get better.
He finishes it by saying, don't get better, so it pulled me out of watching that.
Your partner was right, King Starscream. Your partner was 1,000% right. They oh, God, I don't even want to think about it. JR writes, what did you guys think of the Wolf of Cybertron trilogy? Oh, we're going to talk about that right now. Oh, my God. Prime is good, only 6 episodes in, though. Okay. So, King Starscream, I will say this. The Michael Bay movies absolutely suck. They do. But watch Bumblebee and watch Rise of the Beasts. Those are fun. Bumblebee is a really good movie because it's like a standalone movie and it's fine. You don't have to know any of the old Transformers movies. All you got to do is know what you see in the first 5 minutes is legit. That works in every sense. That is Transformers at its core. And then the rest of the movie is okay. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I enjoy it. It's good. Rise of the Beasts is me being a fucking complete fanboy and saying, yo, they put Beast Wars in with the fucking, the Autobots. And it works. The way they set it up makes it work. I don't care what nobody says. And I understand the Unicron thing, but I don't care what nobody says. I love that movie. I do. It is, it's probably my favorite Transformer movie, live action. Probably is. Even over the first one. Because it doesn't have stupid Michael Bay jokes. It does have make no sense Wheeljack. That's what I'm going to call him. Make no sense Wheeljack in the movie. When I saw Wheeljack in Bumblebee. But I digress. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that Netflix trilogy, if you will, Rob. God.
Man.
It's there. It's in your hands.
Yeah.
You ready?
We've got the touch, except they didn't.
Yeah.
That's the bad touch. That's the stranger danger.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, the sentiment was clearly there, because there are parts of each of those like little mini seasons where you can see the ideas and the juices flowing, and it's in those moments where you see what could have been, but when conjobbled all together into a hideous mutation of nature's design, man, those season 1 was hard to get through. Not hard in a good way. Season 2 did it a bit better, and then there's Kingdom. And I don't need to tell anybody why Kingdom was just not it.
Because it wasn't. It's a waste of fucking potential. Waste. It's right there. It's right there. It's G1 meets Beast Wars. And how do you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
It's literally, as I said before, the only good thing that came out of that series were the figures.
Yes.
We got new versions of Beast Wars Megatron and Optimus Primal. We got like a Netflix realized G1 Optimus figure eventually. There was so much going on with that figure series, and it was the only thing that I remained more like in tune with than I did the actual shows, because I watched all 3 seasons with my homies on Discord, like during the grips of the pandemic. So we were all sitting there just like, oh, that's cool. But what the fuck is the rest of this? It was, I mean, when they said Transformers and Rooster Teeth, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to cook.
Wait. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? That's right. That's me. My text message is going off. Picking up a faint signal. Yep. Apparently the Cowboys just got annihilated. It's okay. It's okay. All in, Jerry. All fucking in, Jerry. All in. You son of a bitch. Never. We talking Transformers. The Rooster Teeth stuff. That Verizon Go shit. Remember that?
I do.
That was good. The Combiner Wars and all that shit. I'll be honest. That was good. Thoroughly enjoyed that shit. I thought that's what Netflix was going to go and continue offering. But they went a different route.
Boy, did they.
And then again, when like Kingdom came out, like this is it. Like you have Beast Wars and G1 together? What? It's such a miss. And it kills me. It really does, because I'm pretty sure that there are people behind that series that know Transformer lore. It's just that that wasn't it. It wasn't it. But again, at the same time, it still keeps Transformers alive.
Yeah, it kept Transformers in the conversation, and it kept people busy during the depths of the nothingness. But, man, I know this is all just like a personal thing, but I felt that series was kind of set in stone to be a tear down the middle before it became a tear down 80% out of 20. But the minute we found out that voice actors for certain characters weren't coming back, when we heard some voices coming out the first time, it's like, what the fuck is that? That's not David Kaye. That's not Gary Chalk. I don't know who the fuck they got to do Megatron, though, but I thoroughly enjoyed whoever they got to do Megatron. I thought he did a good enough job. Him and his big lips for whatever fucking reason. But it was the definition of a mixed bag. Some cool things being done, execution missing the mark, some good performances here and there, but ultimately, I don't hate it, but I'm likely not going to go back to it anytime soon. Like,
Mm-hmm.
There are certain movies and there are certain things that I like to watch either bi-yearly or every year or whatever. And that's definitely, as far as Transformers goes, that's definitely not on the list.
Well, listen. I mean, it's pretty much at the end. But before we go, let's get into this last bit of chat here. Prime is good. King Starscream. Prime is good. Only 6 episodes in, though. So, you got a lot to go, King Starscream. Enjoy it. Prime is really good. And J. Rollerson. Sorry, again. I'm just going to call you JR. Cold take. But it seems Netflix really had issues with trilogies based on massive properties. Wow. I wonder if he's talking about a certain Big G.
Hot take. Anime trilogy good.
That's a scorching take, but you know you wrong. Terrible.
Am I?
One good movie out of that trilogy. One. That's the first one.
Ray, apply sunblock because here it comes. All
go.
3 of them are good.
Oh,
All 3 of them.
No.
All 3 of them.
No. There's a concept. There's a concept of goodness in the last 2, but the concept is not executed at all. I mean, Mechagodzilla City. How the fuck you fuck that up? How do you fuck that up?
Save it, bottle it up, because this is a whole other podcast.
That's a Godzilla block party. That's a Godzilla block party. But listen,
you're damn right.
We're gonna end this. We're gonna end this live stream here. As far as
longer than we thought we were going to.
A lot longer. Hell yeah. As far as the Transformers goes, in 40 years, we've had so many different iterations. We've had so many movies. Who would have thought from 86 to 2023, movies constantly with Transformers, Netflix shows, TV shows, revamps, redos, unbelievable. But at the end of it all, the crux is the toys are selling.
yeah, they are.
So if the toys are selling, the boys are selling. And honestly, Hasbro knows what they got. They know what they got. And I am absolutely interested in seeing what they would try to do with a G.I. Joe Transformers movie. Although I don't think it should work right now. I think they should just hold out for a minute. But I would love to see it. It should be animated. Oh my God, an animated Transformers G.I. Joe. Good God almighty, but I digress.
Yeah, they want that summer blockbuster money with that.
They want the summer blockbuster money. Absolutely. It's just, would it work here in today's day and age? I don't think so. Right now, and it's unfortunate, as much as we love this franchise, right now, when you look at the numbers with Transformers 1 being 1 weekend in, it lost to Beetlejuice. It should not have lost to Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is 3 weeks in, and Beetlejuice is the number 1 movie this weekend. That's terrible. So Hasbro needs to understand, where do we go from here? You go back to G1. I am telling you this. You give us old school purists one more go round. That's all you need to do. Once you do it, and I said this like 5 times already in this fucking stream. Give us one more go round. You give it to us, and you give us Peter Cullen, and you give us Frank Welker as Optimus and Megatron, and don't try to make them change their voices. Make them Optimus Prime and Megatron. What you see right up here on this thumbnail, that Optimus, that Megatron. We can't get Frank Lauder. He's passed away a long time ago. But there's other people that does Starscream's voice just as well. Get whoever you want to play Bumblebee. Get him. Get Jazz. Somebody that doesn't need... Scatman Crothers is gone. Doesn't matter. Get somebody that could sound like him. But make the Generation 1, whether it's a movie, a Netflix limited series, something. But give us G1 purists what we really want, and we will give you, Paramount, all you need. And that being said, thank you, Rob, for joining me today.
Thank you for having me today. It's not often I get to talk about Transformers in life, and it's a breath of fresh air that I needed.
Well, I'm happy you joined. I really am. And I'm happy we did this. And I want to thank everybody out here who joined the chat. I want to thank our new friends, JR, J. Rollerson, Default NPC. I want to thank y'all. Fucking King Starscream. I want to thank that crazy dude that jumped in earlier. Aiden's World. Yeah, thank all of y'all for joining us. Listen, we do this every Friday. Live stream. We talk. It's a geek out. Sometimes it's Godzilla Block Party. You can join. Rob has a channel. Peep his channel. He does the toys, and he does them well. Y'all already know about JR, apparently. Listen, I am G1. This is the G Show. We are out of here. Happy 40th, Transformers.